Hey, Jess.
Hi, Shannon. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I
I
feel great.
didn't. I didn't play our IEvolveTV, but I think there's a little bit of a gap there, and so that whole fluidity or whatever, I'll have to get that down.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll have to patch that in so it's like one click, and it's not a cut screen or whatever. So,
Right. Mm-hmm.
hi everybody. Hi from Shannon and Jess at IEvolveTV. We're back with how I don't even. I kind of stopped keeping track of our episodes. To be honest
Mm-hmm.
with you. But how was your Christmas?
Oh, it was awesome. Hung out with my sister's family, basically.
Did you stay in your neck of the woods, or did you head
Yeah, I
home?
didn't. I didn't leave Washtenaw County. No,
No.
no, just went into the country, hung out with the kids, and yep.
When I got up there, when I got up north, when I got to Alpena, there was there may have been a dusting, but there really wasn't any snow. And then by the time I was leaving on Christmas Day, there was snow. There was snow. So yeah, it was quite awesome. Yeah, so it snowed a lot on Christmas Day. So yeah. Um, so we kind of I feel like I just haven't talked to you as much as we normally talk. So and you were saying that your schedule's all kind of whack, and mine is too. Like there's just a lot going on. I don't know if you can like say it's like the convergence or anything like that at this point.
Yeah,
Just
it feels
kind
like
of
something.
here.
Just like I think we're all just exhausted from this whole acid trip, which is 2020.
Yeah. But you were saying too, like it's supposed to be a full moon tonight.
Yeah, it's full moon. Yeah, it's full moon right now. I woke up this morning, drove to work at 6 in the morning, and big honking moon in the sky screaming at me.
Yeah.
Surprised I didn't go full lycanthrope and turn into a werewolf right there, but it just didn't happen. Somehow I maintained my human form.
Maybe that is your werewolf form.
Oh yeah, that's right. I am a werewolf right now. And your Little Red Riding Hood.
I don't have a red hood. Oh wait, I do have a red hoodie. I
It's
just don't have it on right now.
allegorical.
What?
It's allegorical. It's allegorical.
Al Gore? Where's Al Gore band?
I don't know. He's out hanging out with some globalists.
Where's that Tipper girl? She's out there putting on stickers onto things.
Yeah, I bet.
Yep.
Yeah, PMRC. Keep them kids away from them swear words.
Parent advisory.
Yeah, put a parental advisory sticker on it. Kind of like they do on Twitter and YouTube and Facebook if you put anything about voting.
That's different. That's totally
it's
different.
actually the same thing, really, in a way.
It is, but I mean,
yeah. It's different, but it's similar. Put it that way.
Yeah, I think they had a different intention then, right?
It's kind of like if I put a product out and I say, "This is what I'm saying," and then someone puts something over my product and says, "Actually, this is what we're saying." like actually, that's not what Jess is saying is completely wrong. Let me show you something different. That's what they're saying. I think it's funny.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. Have you ever watched any of those? Like, I guess I wasn't really all that aware because how we would have been. I mean, I do remember when the parent advisory thing came out when we were kids. I mean, 8, 9, 10. We weren't very old.
In the heyday of the cassette.
In the 80s, yeah.
In the late 80s, yeah. It went right.
Have you ever watched the documentaries on those?
On cassettes?
No. On like that movement of the parent advisory stuff.
Oh yeah, like Dee Schneider's when he goes to the court and he rips him a new one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the template, because they always underestimate us heavy metal people, and because we're highly intelligent. Heavy metal makes you smart.
Sure.
Because it's intricate and your mind wraps around the intricacies of it.
Right. You think about some of the musicians were classically trained musicians. Yeah. I don't know about him.
I don't either.
But
it's classic rock.
Don't say
It's
that.
classically rock.
I about had a meltdown one day. I was driving to work and like Guns N' Roses came on the classic station. I was so upset.
Oh, right, because well, that's because it's
What?
classic now. Back in the 80s when you had to dial on a rotary phone.
I know. I'd love to put
Yes.
I'd love to put a rotary phone in front of a kid and say, okay, what is this? How do you use it? See what would happen. I don't know that they would know.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, it's just like anything. You have to be taught how to use it. And no one is using that anymore, so we cycled out of that thing. Yeah.
And I remember trying to like speed it up. Do you remember doing like putting your like especially like a 9 took forever.
Oh right, you'd be like 9. Yeah.
And then you would like yank it back so that it would hurry up so you could do the next number. Remember doing that?
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. Wow, right. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Wow.
And you'd have to remember all the phone numbers too. And you'd have like that list of like essential phone numbers next to your phone, like all handwritten and crossed out and scribbled out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a really awesome list that I had of all my friends in high school who I could call.
Yeah. I wasn't on it.
I don't think we talked much on the phone in high school.
Never.
No, we didn't. But now we're making up for it.
I don't think I knew your name.
We're making up for it in Zoom.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. That's funny. But do you remember having how we get in the subject? We're supposed to be talking about roots of discontent. But it's funny. Do you remember having a party line?
Yeah, we had a party line.
Yeah, because you're out in Osneek.
Yeah, we're out in Osneek, and you know, you go to use it, or you get a ring, but it'd be like a funny ring, and you'd be like, "Oh, don't answer that. That's for the party line."
Yeah, it's like it was like a muffled ring or something, or it had like
a short ring, or it's like short.
Yeah,
something different about it. Yeah, wow.
Or the neighbor would be on the phone forever, and you couldn't get a call out, and you'd have to like pick up the phone, or eventually, because you got tired of it, and hey, I need to make a call to.
Yeah, it's
so I severed my arm, and I'm bleeding out.
Like, you kind of brought you in the community, even though I never talked to those people except for on the party line.
Yeah. It's funny. Good times, good times. And now we all have our own phones. We don't even have to wait.
I know. They should make party lines on these new phones. You pick it up and they'll be like, you can't use your phone right now. Shannon's on it with somebody else.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
That'd be funny.
Yeah, as if, I mean, we're all in everybody's business as it is.
Can you imagine if people like just didn't have their little hand phones with them, or like if there was like if the Earth, if the sun, you know, did an EMP, like an electromagnetic pulse, and hit the Earth, and it like wiped out all our communications and all our electronics, like what would people do with like
imagine that
their phones for a second? It'd be so weird, right? It'd be like,
they've been predicting that that's going to happen for a period of time, like
right.
And that it's going to happen for like days.
Oh, right.
I mean, I know you've heard about that, right?
Day of dark. Yeah, like the 3 days of darkness, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like 3 to 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
I think I started hearing about it in like August.
Makes sense. Right. Yeah. We'll see if any of that manifests.
And then I always want to say Cheryl Ladd, but it's not Cheryl Ladd.
Lori Ladd.
Yeah. Cheryl Ladd was like an actress from... Who is Cheryl Ladd?
I don't know. It sounds like...
I'll have to look it up real quick. That's going to drive me nuts. Cheryl Ladd. Yeah, American actress. But anyway, yeah, she was saying that, we just kind of totally... I kind of took it as one of her last posts, like right before Christmas, that, she was one of the Charlie's Angels.
Cheryl Ladd. Oh, right.
Yeah.
She was like the one of the blonde ones.
Yeah. Anyway, like she was, from what I took from one of her things that she streamed, one of her lives, was that we basically missed that whole timeline. I'm sorry,
that.
what? That we missed. I think I
Yeah,
took
the
one of
timeline
those
thing.
ones. Yeah, like
I
where
really like that. She got she got like a little download that. Oh yeah, by the way, you humans really missed the bullet on the line.
just by the hair of your chinny chin chin.
Makes sense, but you know, who knows? But yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of how I took it. Like
Yeah.
maybe that won't happen now, but I don't know. I was kind of I mean, I'm sadly thinking that maybe it still maybe needs to happen.
Yeah, a lot can happen in the next couple of weeks, so we'll
It'll
see.
be a little bit like, hello, are you in there?
Everybody's
So,
quiet because, in a sense, because nobody knows what's going to happen, and nobody can really say for sure. No one can really gloat because they're not sure. You know.
it's like Bueller, 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 Bueller.
Bueller.
All these 80s references. What the heck?
I was just imagining if I could take my mustache off and put it on you, what it would look
Oh,
like.
that would be hilarious if we had like an app that did that.
You'd look like a cop. We just have to give you a donut and a coffee.
I look like my brother.
Is that what he looks like?
Well, he's a cop and he has a mustache. So,
Or does he look like you?
well, I guess so he's my brother.
Okay, I believe you. I just can't imagine it.
Oh yeah, a really cute version of him.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, cool. Alrighty. I accidentally shared this twice in a live, so I hope everybody, whoever's watching, please, feel free if you have a question or whatever, and we don't see it in our, because we use a app that is supposed to stream everything into like one spot so that we can both see it, but it's not foolproof. So if we're not responding and you've left a message and you're like, why are they not responding to me? Because we really try to do that for everyone. Don't be afraid to like actually shoot me a message. Not a problem. So, you want to dive into the roots of discontent?
Deep divers. Yeah, let's do it.
The deep dive, breathing in that beautiful prana or whatever you said.
Breathe in that good ass prana. Waters.
Oh, I can share screen it. No, because now we have the PDF of the book.
Oh yeah. Let's do it. Let's get into
So
it.
I'll just like get you going. I'll crack your can of worms. Buddha
Excellent.
spoke Buddha spoke of the need to recognize suffering, and he was referring to the broad way of feeling the range of feelings from a vague sense of malaise to overwhelming pain and grief. But I'll get the share screen. So there's your can of worms. Cracked.
Cracked.
I
Yeah.
cracked your can of Schlitz.
Yeah, dude, I'm gonna get schlit faced. Sorry. Yeah, no, like it's kind of like these people, like it's like you go to AA or something, right? Like from what I hear, you have to say, that you have to admit that there's a problem before you can solve it, kind of thing. Like you kind of have to admit that we have this suffering. It happens. You die, so you definitely have that kind of suffering. You definitely have old age suffering, or like or you die young suffering, or like you hurt yourself, you're bleeding, or just mental suffering, emotional suffering, all the different types of suffering that we have. And so it's kind of like facing that fact. It's kind of like, hi, I'm Jess, and I suffer. It's not like the sin thing where you think I'm a sinner. It's more like I am prone to suffering because of and then how do you get that suffering? The suffering comes from your actions. So it's kind of like if you use like the AA model, it's like you admit you're like, if you have an alcohol problem, you go, I have an alcohol problem, and then you like, well, what can I do to solve it? And it's kind of like, and then you have the path, and that's the path. For people in AA, they have the 12 steps, and that's their path. But in Buddhism, the path is kind of developing your positive qualities and then identifying and clearing kind of the negative parts of you and the that cause suffering.
Oh,
yeah.
I've got
Where are we at? What's up?
Well, I thought I had the share screen, but I clicked the wrong one. I don't want to really see my email, so that's probably not what you want. So let me get the right tab here. There we go. Got it. Yay. And I have to actually open it. There it is. Yay, got it.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see it now?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
This leads to the very basic question: why are we subject to suffering at all? Why is it that after having even the most satisfying and pleasurable experiences, we eventually return to a state of discontent? If then we can identify the sources of discontent, we might be able to reduce or even eliminate them. Boom, right? See? Also, see, so it's like, you find out the problem and then you find the solution to the problem. Also, when seeking the roots of discontent, we are faced with another basic question. Are those roots to be found outside in our environment, or do they dwell within us? Like this is like analytical meditation, you take something, you analyze it. It's like, where is the source of suffering coming from? Is it from outside, somewhere somebody's doing something in the neighborhood, or is it like,
right?
Is it me? Hey, it's Veronica. Hello. Peace to you, Veronica from Arizona.
Veronica, she's so sweet.
Yeah, good to see you.
She got her little dragon out there.
Yeah.
She better fire up that dragon. So I just wanted to make sure that you could still see what you needed to see. So I'm kind of bouncing between windows. So if I seem a little like, I'm just trying to make sure that you can see what, anyway. So yeah. So like, and I can scroll down too to get to, my view is kind of weird. So just direct me if I'm getting to where you need me to be there it is. I can see it now. There's
what you just scrolled through is that he asks questions and he gives examples. He talks about, well, okay, take like a normal person who, like, because people basically are like, most people will be like, well, I'm not suffering. I'm actually completely fine. Like, I don't even know what you're talking about. And then, and then his example is take a healthy person and put them in the middle of nowhere, and then, see how they start to get bored, or, like boredom is a form of suffering, or starving is a form of suffering. There's so many, but really, like, in terms of like emotional suffering and, like if we keep making the same mistakes, then we're not learning, right? It's like, oh, you make a mistake, you learn again. Well, if you keep making the same mistakes, well, you're really not taking the teaching out of it,
Right.
So that's like, so the cool thing about this particular practice, and I think any really good spiritual practice, is where you have to be self-reflective. You have to be self-analytical. And, the thing about, like, within the Buddhist context, it's not like, you don't do it to beat yourself up or to self-flagellate yourself or something, like, it's to, because in Buddhism, they don't really have the concept of guilt, or like you're a guilty person and you're supposed to feel guilty. It's more like, it's like, if there's something you're doing wrong, identify it, fix it, but and then that's how you do it. So it takes like a little bit of analyzing to see where those cracks are, in our minds, and what creates the suffering, and what makes us suffer. And so that's where, you start to break that down. And let's see, I don't know what his next thing is, but
well, I just think that this, I'm not sure. Okay, so where is this from? It says the Buddha declared. Like, what book is that from? Do you know?
Well, the thing is, like, there's so many teachings of the Buddha that, like, most people haven't read the entire thing, and like, it's like all over the place. It's like there's, the Buddha taught for 45 years, you know. Jesus
Mm-hmm.
taught for like just a couple of years, right? Just a couple of years, like 3 years or something like that. Buddha
Mm-hmm.
taught for 45 years, and there's all these different teachings all over the place. There's not like one book that has everything, and it's like it's so large that it's all over the place. But so he's quoting from some sutra, some Buddhist. It's from the Buddha. The mind has perverted aims. One causes greater misery. Causes one greater misery than the hater does the hated. Then enemies do enemies.
So I want to come back to the sutras real quick because
Yeah.
I'm familiar with the Yoga Sutras. Is that like just one of the sutras? Are there other sutras?
Yeah, sutra means it's just like thread. I mean, it's like the sutra just kind of is like a book. It means book. It doesn't mean book, but it means like kind of an explanation or like expository to sutra. It's kind of so Yoga Sutra is going to focus on yoga, right? Like the Heart Sutra is going to focus on the heart of the Buddha's teachings. It's just like it means like yoga explanation. You could look at it in a simple sense, or it just means kind of like an explanation.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, there's like 196 sutras
Right.
in the Yoga Sutra, and like only two of them like kind of vaguely talk about what we would see on a mat. So,
Right.
I mean, they really don't. You know what I mean? So it's much more advanced. I mean, it talks about a lot more about what we see more in like Ayurvedic medicine and stuff like that. I mean, I think I have.
Yeah, it's more about your mind.
Well, and it has the eight limbs of. Yeah, so I'm just wondering how it all kind of weaves together.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because the word sutra, I think either sutra or tantra, but like sutra, I believe means like thread, and it's like interesting because you look at Twitter or something, it's like a thread. Like people have a thread where they talk like, they'll make a statement and it'll be part 1, part 2, part 3, and it's like a thread. And then they have a thread app, thread reader. It's like really just means it's like a thread of, like a book is a thread in a sense. It's like one idea to the next idea to the next idea. So it's kind of interesting. It all ties together, if you know what I'm saying. All the themes tie together.
This is
What's it say?
8 limbs. The 8 limbs of yoga.
Patanjali?
Yeah.
Patanjali, however you say it.
Yeah. Patanjali or Patanjali, is that what you say?
Patanjali, yeah.
Patanjali. So Ashtanga, Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya. I have to remember how to say them correctly. Brahmacharya, Apagara, Saucha.
Right, these are all the Sanskrit terms
Yeah.
For like specific things. Like, what are the translations of all those?
I'd have to go look because just the word.
Yeah. Those are the 8 names.
Santosha, tapas, which I'm pretty sure is not tapas, like heavy hors d'oeuvres.
Right.
So anyway, it goes on. And pranayama is one of them. Anyway, so it's in there. But I just was wondering if that was just like one of the sutras that is discussed.
Nope, not in Buddhism. But it all weaves together, so like you can study that and it would make sense in a Buddhist context. The cool thing about a lot of the Buddhist stuff that I study is that when you study it, you can integrate any other, like you can find all of those threads in the other like religious traditions, like the basic ideas, and they all are. It's like it's the same thing, it's like developing love, compassion, developing your wisdom mind, reducing your bad habits and gaining good habits and achieving patience and achieving, all these like good, good actions versus bad actions. Essentially, it's really simple in that sense,
Right. So they talk about 8 limbs as well. So as like the 8 corrected the compass. I mean, we haven't gotten there yet, but the compass of the Tibetan teachings. What is that?
Oh, like the Dharma wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's 8 of that as well.
Yeah, the limb just means like line or the different limbs of the path or whatever, the different different aspects of it or something like that. Yeah.
Interesting. I'm sorry I cut you off.
No, you're good. No, I'm just it's fine. So that's what's up with that.
So so we were talking about that that's on the screen. The mind has the mind that has perverted aims causes one greater misery than the hater does the hated, than enemies do enemies.
Yeah, so if you just look at the first 2 lines, right, the mind that has perverted aims causes one greater misery. Like, think of if you want to do something to feel good, right? Say you'd be like, oh, dude, I'd feel really good if I was to smoke a cigarette right now, like just a big stinky cigarette and just hotbox it, You would get there's definitely a high aspect to it or a good feeling aspect to it, but then there's this horrible feeling and you have less power, less energy, can do less, you have less breathing, in
Right.
other words, we do things that we think are going to make us happy, but then they end up making us unhappy, and it's that's called lacking of wisdom, right? Like if you do something in the idea of it's going to make you happy and then it makes you unhappy, it's well, then you must have missed the boat on something there, right?
Right.
Yeah,
All right.
that particular aloka is a little confusing in the way that it's phrased, but hated as a hated. But I suppose if we were to read the whole thing, it would elucidate it. But he's basically talking about how our mind is and stuff. He's B. Alan Wallace is pretty smart. He's a brainy guy.
Yeah, I listened to one of his lectures today.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know where the satsang or the sangha was. I don't know where it was, but it was in front of robed monks.
Did he have gray hair or dark hair?
Gray. It was pretty recent, last couple of years.
Okay, yeah. Because he was a monk in the 70s, Tibetan Buddhist monk, and then now he's a professor in Santa Barbara, Buddhist Asian studies kind of thing, and he's translated for the Dalai Lama. He's one of he's home team, as we call it. He's really and he's one of these Western scholars who can read and write in Tibetan.
He's fluent. He's fluent in Tibetan. He was speaking half English, half Tibetan.
Yeah, he's he was good enough to get the job to translate for the Dalai Lama. So he's pretty legit.
So I was just trying to kind of quick go over this, even though I read it earlier, because there's another quote from the Buddha on the next page that you can't see, but I can go on if you want. I just have to get to the right thing here.
There you are.
Sorry. There. Can you see it?
The mind that has perfected aims brings happiness to oneself. When they say perfected aims, it's kind of like you have the correct aim in terms of the path. I mean, where the harmonious kind of aims. The mind that has perfected aims brings happiness to oneself. Fathers, mothers, and other friends do not cause such happiness as that. Yeah, in other words, if you want to be happy, you got to get your stuff together yourself and it's not going to come from outer sources. It's going to come from your own.
This is probably where that misquote comes from. Happiness comes from within. Don't seek it without. And people always go, "Oh, the Buddha didn't really say that," And it's like supposedly like this big misquote. It's probably where it comes from, because it's basically what he's saying.
You're paraphrasing. I mean,
it's totally what he's saying. He's like, you got to find your own correct thought, correct action, correct speech, correct. What else? There's 8 of them, right? All the correct.
Yeah. Right.
All those 8 correctness.
Right livelihood. Right. There's so many things. Yeah. So those all kind of work together. That becomes the path, right? Like, so having right livelihood, for example. Like, if you're on the path to attain enlightenment, to like help all beings, you kind of have like, they call it right livelihood, which means like you couldn't have a job that hurts people, right? If you were on that path, because you'd be going against the path, you wouldn't be on the path then. But if you're on, like if you're hurting, people, or doing some kind of shiesty stuff, that's like not right livelihood, right? And so all of those things, they're called the paramitas, the transcendental giving, by practicing those things, you're working with your dharma. So it's the eight perfections, they call it. Yeah, the 8 perfections, which means, what are the perfections? It's like perfecting, perfection of patience. Like, imagine if you had perfect patience, right? What does that even mean?
Well, I mean, there's always a balance in everything.
Well, it means it's like, I mean, that that nothing gets you, that you never get angry, even if they somebody hurts you or cuts your arm or kills your family.
Well, that would be a reason to get angry, or that would be a reason to protect yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, you still have to move away from things that are going to be detrimental to your sovereign being. I mean, you probably lose patience with getting cut. I mean, so you still have to have a balance within those contexts.
Well, they say so if you're at a fully enlightened level, you don't lose your patience when that happens.
Well,
that's what, in other words, I'm saying perfected patience means you never get angry. Period. Like, regardless of what's going on in your environment. It doesn't mean you want to let people hurt you or something like that. That's not okay. And that's not what we're saying. But it's like
you're still going to move away from directed, targeted.
If somebody screwed you over, you wouldn't get angry about it. If somebody left you out in the middle of the woods, you wouldn't get angry about it. I mean, basically, the thing is patience is the opposite of patience is anger, right? So perfect patience means there's no anger. And perfect anger means there's no patience. Right?
So I was in the mall once. This is
me too.
Not Alpena. It was it's a funny story and it's very short. And it was just so, I don't know, ironic. I can't remember. I think it was maybe Muskegon Mall. And this mom, it was Christmas time. And this mom is having a melt and she is losing it with her kid. And she's like, "Patience, get over here."
Yeah.
The kid's name was Patience.
Oh, that's cute. Yeah, she needed to yell a little louder to get Patience to come over there.
And I started walking really, really fast because I wanted to laugh. I wanted to laugh really hard about that because it was funny.
Yeah. Did Patience come to her when she screamed at her?
I don't know. I mean, she didn't scream, but I was, close, and I could feel her. She was not having any patience at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too bad, at least maybe she had a reminder. That would have been one of those good. When you recorded it, would be a good self-reflection, right? course, we wouldn't self-reflect. We'd just like say, "Look at that lady, isn't she?" You know, da 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 da. Rather than us like self-reflecting and being like, "Oh, that's me sometimes."
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Truly.
that's the thing. Yeah. Anyways, so
Yeah.
yeah, so we're talking about this.
I mean, she was, she was wrangling other kids. I mean, I'm trying to remember. I mean, there was, yeah, she needed patience to get over there, and they needed to, whatever it was, it was just a mom being a mom.
It's not like you if you become a Buddhist or something, like then you've automatically won the fight against
No.
fear. Like like it means what we're saying here is that it is possible to become more patient to the point where you really have kind of this like really virtuous mind where the anger and hatred doesn't really boil up for you, and you can see kind of the you feel bad for the people doing the negative things because you realize that they're going to suffer for it later.
Well, don't you feel like in many ways that you are almost on, like, almost detoxifying yourself, or you're deprogramming? In many ways, you're almost like pulling off the layers, and almost getting down to your true nature of what it means to be one with yourself, and seeing that in others as well.
Yeah, I guess it's tricky. What you might mean by true nature, it has different connotations, but like it's kind of like the Buddhists will talk about focusing on your Buddha nature, which is kind of like that clarity, like the clear mind. My teacher, you would say that it's like the mind is like a crystal clear lampshade. It's like clear without any colorization. It's just clear light. And then our like like if we get angry, it's kind of like a little red lamp goes over it, and that white light kind of turns into like a red, and in other words, like our mind is colored by emotions, right? Or like a green for jealousy or something, right? Like we all have Buddha nature, which is this kind of clean, pristine, kind of clear understanding, mind of comprehension, kind of like clear mind, and so that's what we're working towards. Like, and so you build on that Buddha mind essentially. So that's
physics fascinates me, right? It really does. And so I was listening to this this thing that was on, and so they did this test with water molecules, and I think it was part of they were working with the string theory and testing out some things. That's really an elusive theory if you're familiar with that. I'm not going to really go into it, but because I don't really understand it. But they were working with water molecules, and we are made of water primarily, right? I mean, there's a lot of stuff in the water, but I mean, water. And I want to say that it was I want to say it was like a Buddhist monk that was like the scientist. I'll have to go back and find it and post it on my wall because it was really cool. He looked at water molecules, and if you came in contact and you brought it inside a person's aura, or introduced that water molecule to anger and rage, and you looked at it under a microscope, the water crystals, or like how the water looked under a microscope, was all like weird, like all kind of weird like formation. Yeah. If you did that same experiment and were praying over it, like with love and gratitude and a whole range of other emotions that were positive, it took like the picture of like snowflake, or just something really beautiful and like symmetrical. And he did this with like all kinds of different water samples, love, just all kinds of different things. And I don't know, but that's a testimony to all kinds of stuff, that we truly are energetic and beings that thrive or not thrive off of frequency, because that's how our cells react. That's what we resonate with.
Well, really, like, it's like, think about it this way, right? Like, it's like our consciousness, orders reality
Right.
on a microscopic level, right? Like you're having the love vibe, and then the water is showing it's like a clear, like a smooth crystal form, whereas the anger one is like it's like confused and it doesn't know which way it's going and stuff like that. It's almost, you know what I mean? Like it's funny how that functions, right?
So we literally are manifesting how we are changing our perception and our thoughts with intention. We are changing ourselves on a cellular level.
Yeah, right. Like you're affecting the coffee cup that you're drinking out of, like.
Right. That's why they say to like put love and intention or pray over your food. There's a reason why we pray over our food.
Yeah, there's a reason why human beings have been praying over their food for like forever, it's because you're making sure that there's no bad vibes in there. I mean, like on a really simple level, but like if if the science is true, which it appears to be completely true, this idea of the vibes affect things essentially, which sounds woo woo, but it's like not actually woo woo. It's scientific.
Not at all.
Yeah, and so if that's true, then we ought to like get our stuff together, y'all, right? Like what kind of energy are we putting out into the universe? And just even on that very simple kind of level, like, and that's why it's like if you are around somebody who, is praying for the well-being of others constantly, their spiritual practice for the benefit of others, and trying to generate love and doing, prayers for others and for themselves and that kind of thing, they create like such a high environment. And it's like I used to go to my teacher's house, and I do gardening and stuff over there, and I'd hang out with them, and you'd have all these questions before you went to go see your teacher. I'd be like, you're working yourself up, like, oh, or like this problem I want to have, get an answer to it or something. Talk to Rinpoche and get the answer, and then you go there, and
you were like his Daniel-san, and he was like your Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah, that's called guru-disciple relationship. Yeah, that's the model. Like we don't have a lot of those models in our society, but but yeah. So what I'm saying is
you're like a vanilla Ralph Macchio. How do you say his name? Macchio. Anyway, sorry.
I'm more like butterscotch.
I'm sorry. I'll be quiet.
It's okay. Well, you don't know what flavor I am because Anyways, so I go to Rinpoche's house, and all that stuff that was in my head about preconceived notions about things I want to talk about and all the scrambled stuff, it all just goes, and it's like it kind of like that. The questioning mind kind of goes away, and it's kind of like you already have your answer, and it's just really like it's like that calm, loving energy just kind of solves that for you. It's like when you're around those people who really do vibrate on a higher frequency, or however you want to call it. It just gets you, because you it's like you synchronize with that. You play guitar and then everything synchronizes with it. When you're with somebody who's really high like that, you
and their vibe is so stable that you have no choice.
Well, you could resist and be a real pain in the butt, but then it's not worth it,
Right.
Yeah.
That won't go well.
Exactly. So that's the cool thing. And that's really the cool thing about having a teacher is one of the best things. They say there are pluses and minuses to that kind of relationship, and there's like a whole list of it. And in Tibetan Buddhism, they have like the 10 positive aspects of the guru-disciple relationship, and like 10 things that could go wrong, kind of thing, and like, but it's like. It's definitely the good overweighs the bad for me, at least. And I mean, if anything, you're going to have somebody teach you something, right? And the best way to learn anything in life is to have an actual physical teacher. Books and stuff are really helpful, but like the person who embodies
here
that,
you are. Yeah. Here you are. Just anybody can ask.
Exactly.
The rock and roll Buddhist.
You're hilarious. So yeah,
cool. That's super cool.
And it's cool that like that's a whole other subject. The idea of it, kind of teacher-student relationship, you know, in the formal sense. I mean, like, what kind of examples do we have in our culture of that? You know, like, I don't know, kind of like Star Wars is kind of like that, and Karate Kid, like you just mentioned, and you know, they say that there isn't that kind of thing in the West, but there really is.
There is
like a good
Rocky
teacher.
and what's his face? Where's the hat?
Who is it?
Rocky, and he had the hat. He always had the. Oh my gosh, it's right on the tip of my tongue. He had, he had the
I have no idea what you're talking
Rocky Balboa. He had
about. His teacher?
Yeah,
his mentor.
Yes. You're gonna
I don't know his name or whatever.
Yeah, you're gonna eat lightning, crap thunder. You know that guy.
I already ate the lightning.
I think that's how it went. Oh dang it! What was his name? It's right on the tip of my tongue. But yes, there is. In all those movies that that are like just they're always 80s movies, right?
Well, I mean, whatever. I mean, I'm just like making a list of.
I know.
Whatever comes to your mind of a teacher-student relationship.
There's more. He has a few more sections in this chapter. Reason and faith, and I think he kind of. There's one quote that I highlighted about the three mental afflictions that are really cool. It talks about free will, and then the nature and effects of mental distortions, and then that's what he ties it up with is mental distortions.
Okay, yeah. There's a lot to go through in this book. We're just kind of skimming around
skimming around.
Did we cover this chapter pretty much?
Well, not really, but
really.
Well, we kind of talked about the reasons in faith. We've really talked about that, like talking about the about putting your intentions into the ether. I mean, you're literally changing the quality of your cellular structure by being positive.
Yeah. Just by being a good person, you can change things, you know?
Oh, yep, absolutely.
Yeah, so we could keep talking, or I could get coffee real quick and come back. Or
sure. Do you wanna take a little bit of a break?
Yeah, let me just go grab my coffee.
We've only we could do that and then just wrap it up. So everybody, we're just gonna take a little bit of break and we'll pop back on in a little while.